This is the FSP CST130 Basic. It comes in black and white. At the moment in South Africa you can get the black one. Along with the special, you get a 500 watt FSP power supply. It's the Hydro K Pro. For some reason it says latest CPU ready. Intel latest CPU ready, which is pretty strange, but anyway. So yeah, pretty straightforward for power requirements. It's a 500 watt power supply. Total power, the max it can do is 492 watts on the 12 volt rail, positive 12 volt rail, and then on the 5 volt rail 100 watts. So not a bad power supply. With it you get the 24 pin for the motherboard. You get CPU, 4+4 pin, so it's for the 8 pin motherboards. PCIe, 4 PCIe, so 24 pin, 4+4 pin for the PCIe. So this comes as a combo, you can buy it at the moment. I will have it linked down in the description. Other type, SATA, you get basically 5 SATAs, so on one string you get 4. For your hard drives and your SSDs, and then you get 2 Molex, floppy. I don't know why they still include floppies nowadays, but anyway. And then you've got a spare SATA. So I mean, it's not a bad looking power supply. It is a 80 plus bronze rated power supply, so 88% efficiency, and then silent operation, design manual. FSPs, this is the first time I've come across. I've seen their brand before, but this is the first time I've actually purchased something from them. This is obviously the 500 watt, and then with the special you get this case. So an FSP case, specs on the case. Do we have it on both sides? As for specs on the case, it does have an acrylic side panel. It is black. It is a micro and mini ATX size case, so it won't take the full ATX motherboard. External I/O ports, USB 3, it's got 2 of, USB 2, it's got 1 of, maximum CPU cooler height, you're looking at 165 millimeters. VGA card length 300, so it won't take the massive cards. It's pretty much a small case. And then this one comes with included fans. It comes with 3 included fans, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. So we'll have a look at that now. And then obviously, yeah, again, it's got the acrylic side panel. This is the black version. I haven't seen the white version in stock in South Africa. And yeah, micro ATX, and that's the case. So for this video, we are going to have a look at it, see what it looks like, and then see if it's worth buying. Okay, so here we've got the case. I've already taken out the box and the power supply. So one thing nice about the power supply, comes with black cables. They're not the greatest black cables. They are pretty stiff, but in a case like this, when you're packing the cables into a place where you can actually store them away, having black cables will definitely help. You've got your 24 pin, so there's your 24 pin. You've got, which is quite surprising for the cables, you've got a 6 pin plus, so 2 6 pins, so it's a 6 pin plus 2, so your 8 pin, and then they've got a daisy chained CPU, which is quite weird. I haven't come across that before. So you've got your 8 pin, and then you've got 4 pin plus 4 pin. So 8 pin, 8 pin, which is pretty strange. In terms of cable thickness, this one is slightly thicker. So presumably this is for your CPU. Let's just grab the box to confirm that. Yeah, CPU 4 pin plus 4. Okay, 6 pin plus 2, 6 pin plus 2. So that's pretty strange. I'm not entirely sure what they did with that, because this. So this is a bit of a strange one, because the box doesn't actually state it. It says 4 plus 4, but here's an 8. We're not missing a cable, are we? Nope, definitely not missing a cable. Okay, so yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. It doesn't state anything about the 8 pin. Now, some motherboards, higher end motherboards, can take 2 8 pins into the motherboard, but this type of motherboard can't. And I wouldn't recommend using this size power supply on a motherboard that does take 2. So this is a bit of a strange one. But anyway, yeah, for your graphics card, you've got 6 pin plus 2 and a 6 pin plus 2, daisy chained. And then for your hard drives, your SATAs, so here's a string of SATAs, so you've got 4 on there. And you've got 1 on there with 2 Molex and your power for your floppy drive. Not that we use floppy drives anymore. In the box, you also get a South African power cable. So it's a 3 pin. This is a kettle plug to 3 pin. It's pretty standard. And then for the case comes with fans. So you've got fans here and fans there, which is quite nice. It comes with your screws and mounting hardware with some cable ties. It does have on the top of the case, so we went through that. USB 3, USB 3. It said it had a USB 2 somewhere, which is quite weird because it doesn't have a USB 2 somewhere. It's only got 2 USB 3s. It's got a separate mic input and headphone jack. So they are separate, they're not joined, which is quite nice. Reset button and power button. So pretty straightforward. In terms of the front panel, so the one thing nice about the front panel on this is that it's got a mesh front panel, but it's also got a mesh filter on the inside. So it's got like double filtration, which I haven't seen on a case before, apart from the higher end cases like the Corsairs and that type of thing. And you've got 2 fans in the front. The fans that you get with this case are not RGB fans. So they're not RGB, they're just straightforward black fans. What I've done is I will also link this in the description. If you want to add RGB onto a case that doesn't have RGB, you can look at something like this. These are basically RGB rings that you can add on, and then you plug that into your motherboard, and then it will give you. Okay, so that's for the RGB. We've got. I put an RGB strip on the inside just to give it a little bit more light, and then we've got RGB lights on the outside. And then if we take the front cover and put the front cover back. Now, usually with the RGB lights, they go the other way around, so they shine onto the fan. But because of the mesh front panel and the mesh inside panel, since it's got 2, it fades a little bit, so I decided just to turn it around and use the case to diffuse it. And there we go. For the I/O for the case, we've got USB 3, which is obviously the top USB 3. You've got your audio, and then you've got your standard power switch, reset switch, power LED, and HD LED. And that's it. As for the Perspex panel, quite an interesting one. It does come with plastic on it, but it is one of the thickest Perspex panels I've actually seen on a PC case. It looks frosted, but once you take off the plastic, it's probably clear. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. So stay tuned for the next video where we build the PC in this case and then see how it goes together. And it is, as mentioned, it is a mini micro and mini ATX. She's got the 4 slots. This tends to be a bit better for the cheaper builds, for the budget builds, because it fits quite nicely. You don't want to have a PC that's this big and it fits into a case that's double the size. There is no shroud for the bottom, so bear that in mind. So if you do put a hard drive in here, you're going to see it. There is space for a 3.5 inch hard drive, and then the SSD is presumably on top here because it's raised for your 2.5 inch SSD. So not bad. This is removable, so if you needed to remove it and you weren't using it, say you're using the M.2 on the motherboard. In terms of quality, it's actually pretty good. It's not as thin as what I thought it would be. For the top, it's got space for fans. There you can see the light shining through. It's got space for fans. We are going to leave these fans out. And it does have space for a radiator, but probably only a 240. But I'll confirm that in the specs and have the specs on the screen for you. But other than that, and then it has got a mesh magnetized filter on the top, and then it's also got a filter on the back. It's got a filter in the bottom. You can have a look at that. So there is a partial filter there. It doesn't actually come out, so bear that in mind. So there's no way to actually take it out. You've got to bend it to get it out. So simple as that. So yeah, quite an interesting little case. As budget goes, it's pretty decent. In terms of price, I'll put the price on the screen for one of these things and where you can have a look at buying them from. But they won't be around for too long because obviously it comes with power supply. There is a more expensive version that comes with RGB fans, and there's a few of them that are popping up all over the place. Different types. They've got, I think, 4. They've got this one plus an RGB one with a 600 watt power supply, plus a glass one. So a glass Lian Li type case. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you in the next one.